Today on Vegan Freak Radio number 85, lots of meat-headed stupidity. 22nd of December, 2007.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey, Vegan Freaks, this is Bob.
And Jenna.
And we're back again for another edition of Vegan Freak Radio. This is show number 85, big 85.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Does it feel like we've done 85 of these?
Not at all.
Hundreds of hours
Yes.
of Vegan Freak Radio.
Yep.
Devoted hundreds of hours of our life to this show. Crazy stuff.
It is crazy.
Crazy. Okay, so before we get into the meat, non-vegan. Before we get into the meat of the show, a couple quick announcements. First, we want your help. We want your help because we want you to help us beat the motherfucking MuggleCast at Podcast Alley, okay? I don't even know what a muggle is. I don't care what a muggle... Okay, I do know what a muggle is because I looked it up because I was curious. A muggle is a non-magical person, apparently. I don't like Harry Potter. I could care less. I know. It's going to be worse than the Will Tuttle thing.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Harry Potter. I'm sorry. I just don't care. It's Harry Potter. I don't care. I'm sorry. I can't get into it. I don't care. It's like musicals. I fucking hate musicals. I don't care. I'm not into it. I'm a muggle. I'm a party pooper. I shit on all things that are great. I don't fucking care. Help us beat the MuggleCast. Do you know how much it hurts me that we are beat by muggles every month? Every month? By the MuggleCast, by these Harry Potter people? Every month at Podcast Alley?
We were beating them for a little while, but then they came back.
For a day or two. So
yeah.
Here, we need you to use your magical voting powers to beat these motherfucking non-magical people down. Okay? So help us beat the MuggleCast. Go to Podcast Alley and vote for us. We are in the top 10. Thanks to many of you. I'm actually not that upset about it. I think the MuggleCast, it's probably great. I haven't listened to it. It's probably tremendous.
I'm sure it's probably a good podcast, yes.
I'm sure it is. And I don't mean any offense to the MuggleCast. I'm sure they're great, and I love them dearly. But, come on. Fucking help us beat these people. Okay, a couple other quick things. We are changing our subscriber structure a little bit. So if you are a current subscriber, you will have received an email from us about how to continue your subscription. If you did not receive that email last week, your subscription has lapsed. So you need to, if you want to subscribe, run on over to veganfreakradio.com and subscribe. We're making some changes. In our feed right now, only the most 20 recent shows will be free. The rest will be for subscriber access only. And in with that, there are also additional kind of subscriber shows. And there are other benefits to being a subscriber. So run over to veganfreakradio.com and check that out for measly $5 US a month, declining in value all the time.
Yeah, really. So it's now a really good value for Canadians.
It is indeed, because it's less than $5.
Yeah.
And for Europeans, Christ, man, can you even get a coffee for $5? Actually, you can't even in the US, really. I had a cappuccino yesterday, a soy cappuccino at here. Okay, well, it was in Canton, New York. I had a soy it was $3 for a small soy cappuccino. So look, for what is essentially probably a large cappuccino in most places, you could have a month full of amazing Vegan Freak Radio at your fingertips, your own personalized feed. Everyone gets their own feed. No passwords to fuck with, no crazy shit to deal with, and you get a code for 20% off all Tofu Hound stuff.
Good deal.
And you get on our email, our subscriber email list. Every week when I send out a show, I send out a little email to the subscribers. We also have a free announcement list that you can get on. Just go to veganfreakradio.com and sign up. So you can get noticed, get a little notice every time the show comes out. Also, in terms of administrivia, I guess is the right word, we have a winner. It makes me feel like I'm watching that. What is it? We've got a winner. Juice. What is that from?
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem from a Dream. Fucking amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. It's very good. Making a Killing goes to Kurt. Where is that? Kurt. Kurt is a very long time listener of the show. Very long time listener. Kurt was indeed the fifth emailer. So a copy of Making a Killing is going out to Kurt. Next show after the holidays, we will be giving away another copy of Making a Killing. So stay tuned for many exciting things.
Indeed.
From Vegan Freak Radio.
Yes.
All right.
We move into 2008.
Indeed. got that Christmas holiday coming up. Everybody get your shopping done if you do it.
Yeah. Lovely shopping. Yay, woo. Can you tell I just love the holidays?
Oh, they're not too bad.
Actually, I'm looking forward to this holiday.
I am too, actually.
It'll be nice to visit family. And for all of you out there, just try and enjoy the holidays. We already talked about this in Thanksgiving, but, it's time to be with friends and family.
It is.
And think about the positives rather than dwelling on the negatives.
I think my chair's too high.
You look higher than normal when we do the show.
Dude, my eye. Oh, man. No, I just feel like I'm up too high or something. I don't know.
Usually you have your chair, like, really low. You're, like, way down.
Like squatting down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry, I don't mean to disrupt anything.
Okay.
So, let's get into the heart of the show here.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Well, first, we had talked about Will Tuttle.
Oh, yes, Will Tuttle.
And his theories.
I said a couple things about Will Tuttle. I said that I wasn't into the vibrational energies. I thought it's a little hokey, and geez, you would have think I like shat on the Pope or something, on Christian, on Catholic freak radio or something. It was like there was an outpouring of emotion to stick up for Dr. Tuttle, indeed, right? Mm-hmm. So, first off, I want to say, before I get into these comments, that we heard from Will Tuttle himself, and we are talking with him about getting him on the show, with the agreement that he knows up front that I think that the vibrational energy stuff is hokey. Okay, so we're going to get him on the show. He's traveling around a lot, and we both got really busy in the last 3 weeks or so, and haven't had the chance to really finalize that. And any of you who tried to plan an interview with us know that we're shitty at actually scheduling these things. So we will get to that. So we will have Will Tuttle on the show to let him talk about his vibrational energies. And actually, I think the more interesting parts of his book, which I would like to add.
You said that before.
Am I imagining that said...
You said lots of good things about his book as well.
Right. I just said that I thought the vibrational energy shit was a little hokey. And I still think that. But we've gotten some email about this. Now, this is one of my critiques of the animal rights movement in my book, actually, where I say, we are so wedded to the idea that someone's doing something for the animals. Like anybody who does anything for the animals is somehow this person that we have to worship. No, I don't think we immediately have to agree with everyone that does something for the animals. Because I think that on occasion, it's okay to critique what people do, even if they're doing it for the animals. The road to hell, to use this fucking cliche, is paved with good intentions. So people have good intentions. And I think that's great. And I'm really supportive and appreciative of what people are doing. But on the other hand, but there's nothing wrong with critique. It's good. It makes us stronger.
Exactly. We want to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, man, like the army and shit.
Right.
So, we got a couple comments on this. And speaking of critique, let's just go with it. So this one's from Tina Volpe. She's author of The Fast Food Craze and host of Wake Up. It's because it's, I don't know, all capitals for some reason. The up is all capitals. Wake Up America Global Talk Radio. She said, I think your comments with regard to Dr. Will Tuttle, someone who travels across America every day of his life to teach veganism and peace, is very distasteful and doesn't support our cause whatsoever. There is such an abundance of other idiots that can be chastised for what they do. This is what today's show is about. Leave the vegan peacemaking teachers alone. Dr. Tuttle does more for spreading awareness than most people in the AR movement. I don't know what he does, but sure.
Sure.
That's fine.
But
there's nothing
we don't
wrong.
have to agree with every fucking thing he says.
No, we don't. But there's nothing wrong with critiquing people's ideas.
No.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like
nothing at all. People have no problem critiquing us.
Well, and that's fine.
Exactly.
They should critique us. I mean,
exactly.
Look, I do a bunch of shit wrong. I say dumb things on occasion.
We all do.
I write dumb... Well, I don't know. Do I write dumb things? On the forums, I write dumb things on occasion. I say things I regret. Whatever. Some of my ideas may be flawed, but the only way for me to get those ideas into a better place is to critique them thoroughly and rigorously.
Of course.
So, it's not like... Whatever. Anyway, Warwack has said, bashing Will... This is Warwacked. But bashing Will instead of spending valuable airtime on real evil in the world, factory farming, in case you have no clue, shows where your heart is. Moreover, of all things, to pick on his word choices and claiming they make you look bad, take a look at your domain name, you vegan freak. Okay. Whatever.
We are freaks.
Yeah. But the whole point of the vegan freak name, and we've talked about this repeatedly. What is the whole point?
It is to reclaim your freakiness and be proud of it. Be proud that we're not like everybody else.
Embrace it. If this world is a world that is full of crazy meat-eating people who are embracing pain and suffering and death, we're freaks. We're going to be freaks. And it's something that you should embrace.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Don't run away from it.
And again, this whole idea that critiquing someone's ideas is a problem. This is the thing. This turns us not into a movement. We're not a movement anymore. We're a cult. If we can't critique someone's ideas because they're doing something for the animals, we've turned into a cult.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't critique what he's doing because he's doing it for God.
Right. Exactly.
That's a religion. So we're a religion without a God.
Well,
I say as much in making a killing, but hey, whatever. Okay, this one is from Rosemary. It says, "Hi, Jenna and Bob. Thank you for all you do for the non-human animals. We truly need sentient beings like yourselves, and there's lots of exos and exos, and we like that. We like hugs and kisses. Now for my disagreement with your review on Will Tuttle's book, which coincidentally I've just finished. Your focus, I'm afraid, on Will Tuttle's use of language, vibrations, missed its mark. The World Peace Diet does, in fact, employ scientific logic, systems behavior theory, for example, in arguing for the physiological, psychological, and emotional complexity of non-human animals used for human-animal food. Clearly, Tuttle defines vibrational as consciousness, something which all sentient beings possess as a capacity for transferring their expressions of immediate experience to her environment, as well as other sentient beings. Few human animals would disagree that we are capable of sensing danger, friendliness, happiness, joy, pleasure, pain, terror, fear, trauma, etc. Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But do you think, Rosemary, that we're actually consuming those vibrations when we eat meat? I mean, like, if someone eats meat, are they consuming those vibrations? Because that's what he says. I don't believe that. Like, I believe that you're consuming hormones. You're probably consuming adrenaline and fear and the things that are residual in the meat. But that's not a vibrational fucking energy. It's a hormone. It's a scientific thing. Okay, sorry. It seems your criticism appeared to be directed more towards subtle terminology it can be used in undermining veganism's image in the larger community rather than his unarguable logic. Now, I just talked about that. Not to mention his historical documentation on why human animals eat others, i.e. religion, spirituality, racist, sexist, and classist theories, which he employs throughout his book as the antidote to cruelty toward all non-human animals and human animals alike. Now, I agree with that. I mean, he does. I said that?
you said that.
Okay. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I'm just trying to say. While you are correct that there will be some people who equate the term vibrational with the 60s and 70s apathetic doing drugs and me generations, your terminology, new age. Oh, yeah. So what? As some of us Rhode Islanders might say, they don't call me a vegan freak for nothing. I love and support you both immensely. Ciao, Rosemary. No, I didn't get to Woodstock. Peace now. Go vegan. So I appreciate that. And, you know, I mean my kind of gripes and challenges in the best spirit
Of course.
of the idea of talking about ideas. I mean, I think the vibrational energy stuff is a little hokey and a little new age. I think it reeks of crystals and patchouli. I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to say? Should I?
You're not allowed to say what you actually think.
Well,
Duh.
I don't, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, to each her own.
Correct.
That's how I feel. And, you know, look, if Vegan Freak Radio, if we were to get on here and not be controversial, wouldn't we be dull?
I would think so.
I mean, we got to have a position and stick to it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think that's what makes us what we are.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I think we need to play the theme for The Meat Makes You Stupid because that is basically what the show is about.
Happy Meat.
You know, I just want to be clear before we move along with the show that I'm not upset with the people who sent us those emails. I mean, like, we might have sounded ungrateful or angry.
Yeah.
I'm not angry, and I'm not upset. I appreciate the feedback.
Sure,
I really
of
do.
course.
And so I don't want to be too flip about it. That's all. I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not being like, fuck you, I don't care. You know, like, because I do care.
Right.
I care a lot. I'm a caring kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, anyway, we've got this. We've got a whole shitload of things to talk about.
We do indeed.
Mostly news articles, but we also wanted to start off with some views of vegans by non-vegans. And this one's. Well, we'll start off with an email. This one's from Vanna. She says, "Hi, here's a perfume review I stumbled upon today. Made me laugh, and I thought I'd share with you guys. Is this how they see us?"
You have to read it really the kind of breathy.
Okay. There's something dark, uncanny, and almost diabolical about this fragrance. Imagine being in a quote unquote new age cafe.
I didn't say it.
I know. Yes, this is what it says on here. Imagine being in a new age cafe full of vegan homosexuals and pagan lesbians. It is a witch's poison potion, wreaking freakiness and portending evil. If you do not want dark thoughts and disturbing emotions to be conjured in your heart, steer clear of this one.
Whoa, that's hardcore. Now, the thing that I think we need to pay attention to is this one. Imagine being in a new age cafe full of vegan homosexuals. Now, what is that about?
Well, only real men eat meat. And real women, too, of course.
Of course,
Real women.
of course.
Yes.
Now, on our forum, someone pointed out this this commercial. Well, it's not really. It's like a 7-minute long thing on YouTube about Burger King, and what they do is it's kind of a fake documentary. Like they take away the Whopper from Burger King stores, and then people go in and try to order the Whopper. I'd like a Whopper, please. And they're like, "Sorry, sir, we've discontinued the Whopper." And the guy, "Oh shit, no more Whoppers." Okay. So it's a 7-minute documentary, mockumentary that deals with the removal of the Whopper from the Burger King. So there's a part of it that I think fits in with this vegan homosexuals thing. And I just thought they were, doing these interviews with people about how the Whopper would be gone. And this is what two folks had to say. Very intelligent. Just listen to this.
It sucks.
It's nuts and it's ludicrous and it's stupid.
I think it's a huge mistake.
It's nuts and it's like ludicrous and it's stupid.
And it's ludicrous and it's stupid.
I think it's a huge mistake. I think it's the best burger nationwide, and I like the tradition of it too.
The Burger King doesn't have the Whopper. They might as well change their name to Burger Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got vegan homosexuals and Burger Queen. What's going on here, man?
Well, of course, masculinity is wrapped up in the need to eat meat, the need to dominate the other animal.
Who here can tell Bob what critical thinking means?
That's right. What is critical thinking? Yeah, it's the need to dominate, right?
Yes. And so, if you're a real man, then you would never become a vegetarian because you just lose that masculinity.
Yeah. And, if Burger King didn't have the Whopper, all of that flame-broiled, meaty nastiness, it'd be just Burger Queen. I mean, come on. What is that about? It's ridiculous to me.
I know. And it's disgusting that, a national chain can have that kind of comment on its commercial. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting that it's still okay to have a joke like that.
Absolutely.
It's just...
So this whole thing, I mean, what we get set up here is this idea like, to be a real man, you must eat meat. And, while you're at it, you might as well beat down a couple women too. Or what are you, a fucking pussy? I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But this is how meat and masculinity are all connected together in our culture. I mean, it's all this kind of interlinked domination that's there. And it's clear throughout the entire way in which people talk about meat. They talk about, there's this whole masculinity thing about grilling stuff.
Exactly. The whole barbecue.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all linked together. And steak, this whole thing with like steak and strip clubs and like strong drinks. And I like strong
Cigars.
drinks, but I'm not into strip club steak or cigars, strong drinks. I could really, I apologize all you XXX people or whatever you are. Cause I know we have some straight edge listeners, but dude, it's all linked together.
It is.
It's like all about the domination,
Of course. Because, all those men are actually out there hunting those animals.
Well, okay, so...
A lot of them are, actually, but...
Yeah, well, what if they were? That wouldn't make it any better.
No, I know, but they act like they're this tough or manly man, and they go to the grocery store and buy it all pre-wrapped, and somebody else did the nasty killing for them, and, it's like...
Yeah, but that fits in interestingly well to our next point, though. Kind of a resurgence of the disgusting meat eater. And,
yes.
And kind of what I mean by that is not... most people who eat meat, they go to the grocery store and they buy it in their little styrofoam tray. But these two articles are actually interesting that we're going to read next, because they talk about this kind of evolution of a more kind of quote unquote conscious meat eater, right? People who are very thoughtfully, I mean, I say thoughtful, but you got to put it in quotes, right?
Right.
Very thoughtfully thinking about where their meat is coming from and writing about it and thinking about it and using it somehow as this ethical position,
Right.
like Whole Foods.
The Michael Pollan's, yep, all that.
The Michael Pollins and all that. And I think this is just a natural outgrowth of all that.
Of course.
And so it was really interesting. We got an email from Dave, who is Jack Straw on the forums, and he says, "Hi, Bob and Jenna. You probably already have seen this." And it was really interesting because he sent me this email on December the 4th. And on December the 3rd, I had ripped this article out of the New Yorker and thought, this is great and I ripped it out of the magazine and said, I got to do this on the show. I wrote all over it. And the next day I got this email from Dave, and he says, you probably already seen this, but the December 3rd issue of the New Yorker has a disturbing article by Bill Buford, Red, White, and Blue, B-L-E-U, bleu, subtitled, Cookbooks for Carnivores. He begins with a quick summary of all the major reasons to be vegan, and then abandons them for a, quote, gleefully chauvinistic celebration of carnism. I couldn't read the whole thing. I skimmed it till I saw him ask, how good does meat have to be to merit the killing of an animal, and decided that was all I could handle. So he says he thinks it might be good rant fodder. Oh, indeed it will be. And he says, I would link to the online version, but I think you need to see the horrifying photo of a severed pig's head that accompanies the text to get the whole effect. And indeed, on page 95 of the December 3rd New Yorker, there is a kind of portly butcher holding a pig's head.
Yes.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
I actually had a hard time reading it while I was eating breakfast because of that. Thank you for carrying on with the podcast, and I love the ranting. And he says here, I do kind of miss hearing the theme song in full, though. And I just want to say, we only ever play the theme song in full like twice on the show. Yeah. But
you can go to our website and listen to the whole thing.
You can download the theme song from our website at veganfreakradio.com. If you go on the left-hand side under errata there is a little link to download the theme song in full. You can put it in your playlist, have fun with it, play it for your friends and family, annoy people with it.
You can even make it your
ringtone. I didn't even think about that. I could totally have my own Vegan Freak Radio ringtone. Jeez. We should do a not vegan. We should do a whole bunch of ringtones.
Oh, that was what we should.
We could do that for subscribers.
We should. Okay.
We'll do that after Christmas.
After Christmas, yes.
Yeah, because we're going to visit family and things. All right, so someone needs to remind me. We'll put up a bunch of ringtones. How about like a not vegan ringtone, or you can come up and pet the turkey ringtone.
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
Or we could do
tampered in dog-sided stuff.
Yeah, or we could just do all kinds of different.
Just because he doesn't.
No, we shouldn't do that one as a ringtone. Anyway, so if you want to download our theme song, you do it from the site. But getting back to the article itself, I'll just read for you the first kind of paragraph or so. I mean, the first paragraph is it's just about the first paragraph of the article. And this is from A Critic at Large by Bill Buford, and the article, of course, is called Red, White, and Blue. What do we eat when we eat meat? And it says, is it possible that meat is now openly enjoying a renaissance? That it's finally cool to be a carnivore? If so, it has been a long time coming. Meat eaters having already ceded the moral ground to vegetarians, no one has ever really come up with a persuasive rejoinder to the claim that a warm-blooded, pain-filling creature's life shouldn't be taken for your supper. And that's true. Mm-hmm. No one has come up with a good rejoinder to that. Have more recently had to accept that their diet is probably the source of much of the world's heart disease and much of its obesity. That diet is also sustained by an industry that is just flat out evil. The factory farms, the egregious economies of waste in fast food, the ghastly genetic manipulations of chickens and turkeys, the pigs raised in no room to move confinement, the reckless use of antibiotics and growth hormones, as well as the frightful possible consequences, early breasting in children, difficult to defeat superbugs, the contamination of fields and rivers by noxious excrement runoffs from feedlots the size of small nations, the tricks and shortcuts adopted by supermarkets, cheap animals fattened on cheap grain, butchered by high-pressure hoes, and packaged at their bloated maximum weight. And yet, at a time when things could not seem worse, there is a generation of people in their 40s or younger who are thinking hard and philosophically about their food and are prepared to declare, enough, I'm a meat eater and proud of it. And he goes on to talk about these 3 books by these 3 authors from differing backgrounds. And I don't need to go into a lot of detail with these. It's your typical foodie bullshit. It's like, I love animals so much that I have to kill them and eat them to enjoy their sacrifice for me. And it's that kind of thing. He talks about this one guy who's named Ferningly Whittingstall. Could there be a more British name on the planet? His first name's probably Ian, or Nigel. I'm sorry. People in the UK are probably getting angry at me. He talks about how the most compelling meat comes from a cow, and to this day, one of the great meals of his life is a standing rib roast. What a strange thing, standing rib roast. I just think of a standing animal, right? Anyway, I know that's not what it means, but a standing rib roast he ate 4 years ago with his family on Boxing Day, the first that had been carved out of an animal he had fed and looked after himself. But meat from just about every other animal is discussed as well. The obvious quadrupeds, domestic and wild fowl, plus various pieces of offal, including lungs, lights in British butcher parlance, brains, a nightmare to extricate, and besides, one animal's taste pretty much the same as another's. and the other bits in between the nose and the tail. Quote, I usually have a cooked ear or two in the freezer. Most of this is photographed. Illustration is a central feature of the book, but so too are the meats as they are being consumed. Fearnley Whittingstall, it's evident, is still messy. We see a half-eaten steak, the fat congealing, a cassoulet after everyone has helped himself to it, a plate rim smeared with grease, a sideboard stacked higgity-piggidy with dishes, cutlery, leftovers, and wine glasses cloudy from finger smudges. And it goes on.
That's disgusting.
There is a dog licking fat that is dripped from a table where a pig has been carved up, or sitting on a bench with Fearnley Whittingstall having just had a bite of his homemade pork pie. And he goes on and says, for all the disarray, there is a coherent ideology. It is evident in the opening pages, an 11 photograph sequence that shows the author taking 2 cows to slaughter. And he kind of talks about how, the pictures detail the animals being slaughtered, them being bolt gunned in the head and having their hide ripped off of them. And like it's one, quote, giant rug, like a single rug piece. And he says here, why is it considered entertainment when a predator kills another animal in wildlife film? Fearnley Whittingstall wonders. Whereas the final moments of human predation of our farmed livestock are considered too disturbing and shameful to be made available even for information. The reader understands the point. Meat comes from an animal, a banal connection that has been obscured by the way supermarkets prepare and present our food, and the animal has to be killed. If you fear the sight of a carcass, you shouldn't be eating from it. This opening sequence informs the rest of the book, implicitly posing the question, is the meat you're eating good enough to justify killing an animal? And then he says in parentheses, sometimes I wondered if the author wasn't a closet vegetarian after all. And the article continues on with that to talk about 2 other books that do similar things, talking about the kind of disgusting notions of meat.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that, okay, we're going to claim our carnism, we're going to claim it proudly, and it's this distinction, right? Mm-hmm. It's like we're not going to eat the meat that comes from the supermarket, that kind of everyday pedestrian meat.
Right, of course.
And there's also kind of an implicit claim about animals in here too, right? Mm-hmm. The implicit claim being that it's not fair to treat animals this way. We're treating them better, and we're going to enjoy them more.
Right. But it seems like, to me, a particular kind of sadisticness to raise an animal, get to know it, and then kill it and eat it. I mean, that seems to me to be pretty twisted.
Absolutely. I mean, it is really sadistic.
You don't do that with dogs or cats.
Or your kids.
Why is it okay? Yeah, or your kids. Why is it okay to do it with dogs and or cows and pigs?
Because there's a long, structured history of us having done that.
Of course,
right?
I know. But I don't know. Anyway, but that goes on to this other article, which was posted by OriCat on the forums, and it talks about a meat magazine.
Meat magazine.
And it's from the New York Times on December 19th. It's called Meat to Wrap the Mind Around. And it starts, in September when Sasha Wozanski and Amy Standen published the inaugural issue of Meat Paper, a slender magazine that is, according to the cover, your journal of meat culture, they weren't entirely surprised that both omnivores and vegetarians responded enthusiastically.
Okay, vegetarians responded enthusiastically. Why would vegetarians...
It's welfareism's fault.
Of course.
Because vegans would never respond enthusiastically.
Oh, there is a vegan that would. A couple of them.
Oh, well, true.
I mean, think about
Good point.
John Mackey, Peter Singer.
Good point.
All these people that are,
Because they're talking about responsible meat eating.
Quote, unquote.
Responsible meat eating could hold its own as a philosophical position with people who are vegetarian. Well, yeah, they do.
Ooh, yeah.
Ms. Standen said. Meat Paper is about every way of looking at meat. Well, probably not all of them. I think of it as a magazine that's just as intended for vegetarians as it is for meat eaters. Anyway.
I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
No, not at all. Yeah. It's about the response to meat, Ms. Wozanski added, and there are so many ways of responding to meat. This week, the second issue of Meat Paper, a quarterly based in San Francisco, hits newsstands. Its responses to meat are unflinching and often humorous. Death, funny. A deliberation as to whether the Bible bans blood sausage, a photo essay on found meat, a married couple discussing cannibalism. Not to give anything away, but the husband both offers himself up and resigns himself to eating his companion while the wife dodges the question. The magazine names the present moment when braised pork belly is comfort food, and savvy diners know their chalet from their chianina.
I don't know. Different breeds of cow, yeah?
I guess.
Yeah.
The Fleischgeist, or spirit of meat.
Fleischgeist?
Fleischgeist.
Oh, Christ. It rhymes.
The horrible meat!
We get emails from people who say, we're trying to get more in touch with our animal ethic. My friends and I are going in on a whole pig, and we're going to learn all the traditional ways to process it, Ms. Wazansky said last
Happy
week.
meat.
Over a platter of house-cured salumi. It's what it says, salumi. What is salumi?
I don't know.
At Perbaco, a busy California street restaurant in San Francisco. It's amazing how often we hear that, Ms. Standen said, taking a sip of Lambrusco. I don't know why, but our version of Back to the Land is culinary. Ms. Wazansky and Ms. Standen met while working at Salon, the online magazine. Last year, Ms. Wazansky, now an independent graphic designer, asked Ms. Standen, a reporter for KQED Public Radio, to join with her in editing Meat Paper. Both are in their early 30s, and both were once committed vegetarians.
Not vegan.
We find over and over again that bacon is the conversation meat, Ms. Standen said. Bacon is how vegetarians change their minds.
Eat me.
But having spent some time eating abroad, beef in England, not a good idea. Full in Slovenia, they devoured Perbaco's ramekin of chicory, a rich pâté of shredded pork. Sasha is an incredibly brave eater, and by far the braver of the two of us, Ms. Standen said. She will eat anything, and it's a source of my undying admiration.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Chianti. I love the way he says that. Yes, indeed.
So far, I haven't met the meat I wouldn't eat, Ms. Wazansky said. I know where you're
Just
dirty.
because he doesn't eat it doesn't mean he doesn't beat it.
I knew your mind was going there.
How could it not?
I know. But maybe I haven't traveled far enough to meet that meat. What could it be, Ms. Standen asked. Some organ? We ate duck testicles a few weeks ago at Encanto. They were very tasty. They were mild, Wazansky said, like unassuming little sausages.
Ew.
Chris Cosentino, the Encanto chef, contributed to the second issue with Captain Beefheart, an article about his favorite offal. But if his recipe for grilled beefheart salad is the only one that appears in the magazine, it's because Meat Paper, which has a circulation of 3,200, sees itself less as a food magazine than an interdisciplinary art journal, more isopus? I don't know, than Cook's Illustrated. It explains why it's available in New York, not only at Marlowe & Sons, the general store, and pub in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, but at Project Number 8, the chic clothing boutique on the edge of Chinatown.
Not vegan. Hey, you know what?
What?
There are more people listening to Vegan Freak Radio on a weekly basis than subscribing to Meat Paper.
Good, let's keep it that way. But Ms. Wazansky and Ms. Standen have no interest in turning Meat Paper into an elitist polemic. They celebrate Fleischgeist, and so, as if it's not
Fleischgeist.
elitist.
Well, how could that not
How
be
could
elitist?
that not be elitist? Come
Yes,
on.
I enjoyed the Fleischgeist.
Yes. And as I'm sipping Lambrusco. Yes. Okay. And so far have held 2 publication parties with loose plans for a third. Meat makes a better party, Ms. Standen said, explaining that at the second party, even vegans enjoyed themselves around a table of cured meat. I'd like to meet these vegans.
Oh, you know who they are. There are plenty of them. It's all the Peter Singer, we can be conscientious omnivores.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit raunchy, kind of gross. It's salty and savory. It riles people up, but in a good way, Ms. Wazansky added. People get very enthusiastic. Because they're daring each other to taste these things, Ms. Standen said, there's a certain daredevil aspect to it.
Oh, God.
Even the American barbecue is like that, Ms. Wazansky said. Meat is one of the only foods that can be the centerpiece of a gathering, and as they have shown an entire magazine.
I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
You know, for some reason, that made me think of a story. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks ago in class, I was saying to my students, if you're nice to me, I might ask my wife to make you I might ask my wife to make you cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And this one student said, are they going to be vegan cookies? And I said, no, they're going to be meat cookies. And then this is one of those moments in class. Students say things that are politically incorrect or really funny, and you try not to laugh hard at them.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't help it. And this one student said, meat cookie, that sounds like a euphemism for sex, some kind of sex act. And I was like, oh. And then this guy, and this one kid's like, yeah, dude, I got my meat cookie on last night. The meat cookie. Sorry. Yeah, there were just so many different, there's just so many things in this article that were so offensive.
I know.
and frustrating.
Yeah, but that is the new culture that's, the happy meat culture that's arising. It
course.
makes vegetarians feel okay about going back to eating meat because, well, the meat was happy before it died.
Sure. It's palatable, no pun intended, exploitation.
Exactly.
It's exploitation that, it's wrapped in very nice terminology and it's okay. We said little prayers to the animal and we thought really carefully about it before we killed it.
What it just comes down to is taste triumphs over everything. It triumphs over ethics. It triumphs over actually doing what's right in the world, which is to not eat the sentient being.
Yep, it's true. I had to try really hard during that segment not to use the sound effect.
But when a doctor speaks of the male organ, he calls it a penis.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of meat.
And while you might not want to eat that offal and those particularly odd parts of the animal.
I twisted my ankle like 4 months ago, and it still hurts. When I'm trying to sit cross-legged, it hurts.
I don't know.
Everybody should know. That's what I'm telling all these people out there in the world.
Okay.
This one came from Everett Atterbury. Thank you for emailing this to us. And this is from ABC News. So this is part of this is part of what's going on, like, for your food, right? It's disgusting, but here it is. So, Minnesota slaughterhouse workers fall ill. 11 Minnesota slaughterhouse workers fall ill. Pig brain removal technique is suspected. Now, let's see how many jokes come through. You ever notice when these issues come up in the media, they're always like, a little lighthearted and funny here and there, right? It's ridiculous. So, on the slaughterhouse floor at Quality Pork Processors Incorporated is an area known as the, quote, head table, but not because it is the place of honor.
It's sick that they're joking in this article where these workers have gotten this horrendous disease.
It doesn't matter. They're fucking spics, Jenna. Christ.
Oh, right.
And illegal.
And they're illegal. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Right.
Dummy.
They're not actual people.
Okay. It is where workers cut up pigs' heads and then shoot compressed air into the skulls to blow... Shoot compressed air into the skulls until the brains come spilling out. But now the grisly practice has come under suspicion from health authorities. Over 8 months from last December through July, 11 workers of the plant, all of them employed at the head table, developed numbness, tingling, or other neurological symptoms, and some scientists suspect inhaled airborne brain matter may have somehow triggered the illness. The use of compressed air to remove pig brains was suspended at Quality Pork earlier this week, while authorities try to get to the bottom of the mystery. 5 of the workers, including Cruz, this guy, it's a woman, actually, who worked at the plant for 15 years. She's now too weak to work at her job, have been told that she may never work again and have been diagnosed with chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, or CIDP, a rare immune disorder that attacks the nerves and produces tingling, numbness, and weakness in the arms and legs, sometimes causing lasting damage. And they go on to say that the working theory from the Mayo Clinic neurologist treating the workers, exposure to pig brain tissue scattered by the compressed air triggered the illness. They're essentially shooting this shit into the air. I mean, it's disgusting. It goes on to say, compressed air could turn some brain matter into a mist that could be inhaled by workers, said Mike Doyle, a microbiologist who heads the University of Georgia Center for Food Safety. Or the workers may have come into contact with something dangerous and then touched their noses or mouths. Scientists have yet to figure out if there is something in the brain matter that could be causing the symptoms. The hard part will be identifying the causative agent and associating that with the animal, showing that the animal carries it. Quality Pork has not said what it does with the pork brains sold fresh and in cans. Pork brains are fried and eaten in sandwiches or gravy in some parts of the country. Ew.
I know.
But it is a small market, and the American Meat Institute, ridiculous, which represents most of the nation's pork processors, does not even track sales. And so they go on to say here that in a rapid-fire process that is noisy, smelly, and bloody, severed pigs' heads are cut up at the head table at a rate of more than 1,100 an hour.
Holy shit.
1,100 an hour.
Jesus.
Workers slice off the cheek and snout meat and then insert a nozzle into the head and blast air inside until the light pink mush that is the brain tissue squirts out from the base of the skull. That is disgusting.
That's absolutely disgusting.
I had heard elsewhere that this was the same plant that manufactures Spam.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not sure about that, but I heard that elsewhere. I actually think I heard that on Coast to Coast AM. Now, I hear a lot of things on Coast to Coast AM, so who knows what's true.
Good point.
Christ, on Coast to Coast AM, I also heard, that there's going to be a one world government and that North America, Canada, the US, and Mexico are going to become one big country.
Right.
Because there's a super highway. Yeah, anyway.
All right. Okay.
So,
So yeah, so dangers of actually eating the entire animal.
Well,
and it's
not
sad.
just eating the whole. Whoa, Emmy!
Oh, Emmy, you're making lots of static, man.
It's your tail back and forth.
Oh.
You hear that? That's your tail going back and forth.
Em.
This
Come
is
on.
probably bad grounding
Yeah.
on my part here. Okay, that's enough. Get her out of there.
Come on.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. There we go. Okay.
Anyway.
She's got a big puffy tail.
She's a big puffy dog. She's 60 pounds of hair.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking snowmobilers.
There's not even any snow on
They're right on the sidewalk
Oh,
with that.
lovely.
I know.
Great.
I know. Here, listen.
Yeah, there they go.
Fuckers. I hate them. God, I wish I could immediately erect a wall at will. Just like, I don't know, roll my D20 and make cast a wall spell or something. Boom, wall. Crash. I don't even know. I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in probably 20 years. Actually longer than that, because by the time I was 15, I was like, dude, no way, no way any chick's gonna be interested in me if I'm seen playing Dungeons and Dragons. So done with that. Sorry, all you D&D people. That's just the way
Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, go back to that article. Sad that these people are being exposed to this thing for killing animals. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Some semi-good news, but of course the article is, dire at the same time. This is sent to us by Ken Rhodes.
Another long-time listener.
Yes. It's called Survey Teen Vegetarians on the Rise, which is good news, of course.
Of course.
A recent survey shows the number of teen vegetarians is rising. In fact, it's tripled in the last 10 years. But experts say if kids think going veggie is as simple as just giving up meat, they are making a mistake.
I hate that when people
I do
call
too.
Okay, call someone veggie. I fucking hate that. I hate that. I can't stand that. Like,
Yes.
No, veggie. I fucking hate it when people are like veggies. No, you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan. You're a sellout? No, I'm kidding. You're a vegetarian or you're a vegan. You're not a veggie. I fucking hate that. A veggie.
Here's what we eat.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
According to the latest Harris poll, 3% of teens are vegetarian, up from 1% in 1997. Megan Smith was 11 when she decided not to eat meat. She said, I just decided to stop, decided it wasn't my thing anymore, and kind of gross, and probably not as healthy as I thought it was.
Like, totally?
Her dad was surprised and a little worried about a diet of just vegetables. Of course. Because, we're all going to die here because we don't eat meat. Megan's father, Robert Smith, said...
Robert Smith.
That's the cure. Bunny food never really seemed like food to me. Because, all we eat is lettuce.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
And I was worried about her sustaining herself. Experts say, depending on the diet, that concern can be valid.
I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there. Ooh, yeah.
Dietitian Paige Love said they've completely eliminated dairy, they've completely eliminated meat proteins, including fish and chicken, and so they aren't getting complete protein sources.
Oh, God. Are you for real?
That has been debunked many years ago. You just eat a varied diet, you get plenty of protein.
Eat me.
See?
So don't just drink Coke and eat potato chips.
There you go.
Eat some vegetables, beans, etc. Legumes are your friends.
Eat a variety of things.
Eat a variety
That's
of
all.
things.
It's not
Okay.
difficult. You won't die.
I know.
Okay.
Anyway, Megan said, when I first started, and a lot of my friends that were, you just drop the meat out of your diet and you don't replace it if you don't get the proper nutrition. Experts say vegetarians and vegans need to find replacements for the protein, B vitamins, iron, and calcium that meat provides. Because you can't get iron and calcium anywhere else.
Of course not.
Of course not. Love said, like soy cheese, soy milk, tofu products. There's more. There are now wheat-based meat products like seitan, and these are just excellent protein sources that are available.
Suck my wheat
For
meat.
some kids, it's a fad. Others are more serious. Either way, experts say giving up meat can be healthy for a child if done with guidance and care. Well, of course, yes. But Megan said, everyone thought it was a phase, and it's been my 8-year phase. Rice and beans, nuts, soy products, including soy milk, tofu, and seitan, are excellent sources of non-meat proteins. And you can visit the following websites for more information. And they do give some good websites.
Good.
So, which is good.
Yeah, but all the fear-mongering is a little
I know,
too
it's
much.
ridiculous.
Come on.
I know.
You know? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yup.
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 Crazy. But it's nice when teens can recognize that eating meat's just not
It's
food.
scary.
Oh my god.
Oh, they can't do that.
Tampering in dog-sided stuff!
Yep.
So I believe that's all for our articles.
Good. We got to keep moving because I got to pee.
Okay.
I drank all this water before the show because I was thirsty, and now I'm like,
All right. Well, I think the only thing we've left are some voicemails and emails.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So. Which first?
Well, we have these 2 emails.
Do it.
And then some voicemails that are in response, because we asked for people to respond to this woman who is the only vegan, or she's the only vegetarian. She hasn't gone vegan yet because she's the only one in her family who's like even the slightest bit interested in this, and no one is giving her support at all. So there were 2 emails that we got, and this one's from Kathy, or Ganymede, on the forums. She said, I just wanted to say that I totally identified with the caller who had the Bratz toy with Species as props. That's the one with the, it came with the polar bear rug.
Right. That was on the last show, right?
Yeah, that was. I sort of redo my son's toys if they have Species as tones. I bought a Monopoly Junior game for my son. You're supposed to land on different boardwalk amusements. If no one has a booth there, you pay money to put a booth there. But some of the quote-unquote attractions are problematic. I have a particularly hard time with the water show, which has dolphins in it, and the pony rides. When I land on them, I change pony rides to Pony Sanctuary. When I land on the water show, I set up my booth and I tell him the money I paid was used to distribute Save the Dolphins literature. Wacky, maybe, but it doesn't change the game all that much and is consistent with my values.
Cool.
I don't know if it would be more wacky to play the game as it was written when I don't agree with it. Good point. I empathize with the caller with the Omni family. Even though my family doesn't eat meat, they do sometimes consume milk and eggs. Right now, they're big on eggnog. Gross. The caller talking about Earthlings really tempted me, but I don't think my hubby would watch it. Also, I'm terrified of watching it. Actually, that's probably mostly it, though I still don't think I could get him to sit through it. I've just heard so many things about it, and I know it'll scar me for life.
It's intense.
It is. So there is occasionally dairy in the house. It's frustrating sometimes, especially if I cook something that I think is really good and they turn up their noses or dump a bunch of cheese on it. Okay, there really wasn't a point to that other than to say that I feel for that caller in her situation. At least my house is mostly vegan and all vegetarian. One more thing. I have to tell you what a great show you have. Thank you.
Why, thank you.
I love your regular shows, but I found the last few interview shows really helpful. And she bought Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan after listening to Drina Burton.
Cool.
And she really liked the Moroccan-infused phyllo rolls.
That sounds good.
Vegetable phyllo rolls. They do.
It does
we had
sound
more
good.
time and make those.
We
for the
will have
holidays.
time. We will have time.
Perhaps we have another time. Okay. Anyway. And she liked the interview about redemption, which
Cool.
is very informative. It really made her think.
Good,
She wants
good.
to get the book now.
Good.
Very cool. So thank you, Kathy.
And we have an email from Barbara Whitney, also, I believe, a longtime listener.
Mm-hmm.
She says, Hi, Jen and Bob. This is in response to a voicemail in podcast number 84. I think it was Amy, the one who bought the hooker Barbie doll or something like that. I'm responding to her problem of wishing to be vegan but finding it difficult because she's surrounded by unsupportive omnivores. I sympathize. On the chance that she is the main food preparer, being a woman and all, this is much more powerful position than she might realize. In a non-threatening way, she can control what food is eaten in her house. Maybe it would be a slightly gradual transition, but not too much for her sake. But over time, a reasonable person would respect her refusal to handle meat. This is what happened to me. I am the main food preparer at my house. At first, I was willing to cook meat for others. Then everyone agreed that this is not necessary, and if they want meat, they will cook it for themselves. But their choice being between cooking and having food magically served to them, they happily accept my vegan cooking. Maybe Amy, sorry if I got the name wrong, will have similar good fortune by just making her personal choice and cooking it. And she said, Barb says, thanks always for your entertaining podcast. So that's good. I like that. So maybe, you can actually use the laziness that people have,
Yeah, exactly.
or the busyness
to your advantage.
To your advantage, and that's entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, use these gendered roles.
Exactly.
And leverage them.
Yeah, and you can often make things that, aren't automatically like, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, that's vegan, because there are things you can make that don't look like they would be, that are just happen to be vegan, and the kind of things that people normally eat, like pasta dishes and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you can do that easily. I mean, he's getting all caught up in the cords here.
Oh, God. All right, I got her.
Okay. All right. We also have some voicemails on that topic.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. It's Amber from Virginia, and I was calling in response to the latest show where you had the lady who was having a really tough time being vegan in a family full of meat eaters and also catching a lot of crap from people about it. I went vegan in May of this year, and I did catch a lot of crap from my family at first. And it was really discouraging to me, especially because I don't have a lot of vegan friends. Since then, I have met a couple that have really helped me along. But at first, it was just me and my choice, and I was having to figure out how to cook and, how to do this new thing. Anyway, so it was really discouraging to me for the people who are closest to me, my family, to give me a hard time about it. And I just wanted to say that I came to find out that the reason they did that is not because they have a problem with me or because they necessarily even care what I choose to eat, but because they have an image in their mind about what a vegan is and what that means. And even my mom, I overheard her say, vegan is the same as PETA. And, I
God, I hope not.
feel kind of the same way about PETA that you guys do. And my family is really conservative, and they have a totally different view on PETA, but it's still a negative one. And I think that, just because they may give you a hard time doesn't mean that they don't love you. They just may have a hard time with, processing you as this, combining that with whatever image they have of veganism.
Coming to terms
anyway,
with it.
How to deal with it. I would agree with what you guys said last week, that it is short-lived. A couple weeks of coming over for Sunday dinner. My dad was bitching about how he didn't know what to cook, even though he's an awesome cook, and he already cooks a lot of things that are vegan. He just doesn't call them vegan. But after a couple of weeks of just really trying to be positive about it and making it seem like it was a choice that I was joyful about and that I was really standing behind, instead of being like really bitter or sarcastic or shoving the animal rights stuff in their face, they stopped giving me a hard time. And my dad, every week when I go over, will have an alternative. If they're having burgers, he'll cook like a portobello mushroom thing for me or whatever. And I just think that if you're steadfast and you really make them know that it's important to you and you're really positive about it and have a good attitude, that they will come around. I would volunteer to cook. This Thanksgiving, they didn't make anything that I could eat. Either my dad put chicken broth or turkey guts or, butter or whatever in everything. But I brought 5 dishes, and everybody got to taste that vegan food wasn't gross. And my sweet potato pie was the most popular dessert, and I had stuff that I could eat without having to worry about it. So anyway, be encouraged and know that it is possible. And thanks, Bob and Jenna, for the podcast. I'll shut up now. Bye.
Lots of good advice in there.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling.
Absolutely. I agree completely with everything she said.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Vegan Freak Radio. This is Melissa Victoria, and I'm calling from New Haven, Connecticut. And I haven't ever left a message for you before, but I love listening to your podcast, and they make me really happy. And I've been a vegan for about 2 years now and was a vegetarian for 8. And I'm currently listening to your latest podcast, and I just was listening to Amy talk about, well, 1, the Bratz doll, and 2, being in a non-vegan friendly family. And I was just thinking that I would leave some advice, and I don't know how helpful it'll be, but mostly when I went vegan, I had, I'm on an athletic team in a college, and, it's not exactly what people automatically think of when they think of a vegan diet. They don't automatically think, like, that'll make you a better athlete. For me, it happened to, but my family was also kind of opposed to it and everything, and one thing that really helped me and helped me sort of gain acceptance with it was just saying, like, this is me, and this is what makes me happy. And if people love you and people care about you, when you say that, this is who you really are, like, this is what you want to be accepted for, people tend to listen to that. Your family cares about you and they love you. And if you say, like, this is what makes me happy, I'm the one making the meals, like, I'm going to cook my meals this way, and I'm going to be, who I want to be, they should be able to accept you for that. Anyway, I hope that was at least a little bit coherent, and I wish her good luck. And Thanks for making such an awesome podcast. I love it, and I wait for it. Every time I get an email in my inbox saying that there's a new podcast, I get really excited. So thanks a lot. Bye.
There you go. Good advice again.
More good advice.
And remember, if you want to get an email in your inbox when a new podcast is released, just go to our website and sign up for the free announcement list. Or subscribe, because I send them to subscribers too.
It's true.
Okay, moving on. We've got different topic. Is Nick on this topic or not? I don't remember.
No, I think that's it for that topic.
Okay. Anything you want to sum up on that topic before we move on?
No, I think everybody gave really good advice, and I want to thank you for responding to our request.
Absolutely, and I that's what I like about the show, actually, that impresses me, is we've got all these thoughtful listeners out there who will call in and give people advice and ideas and ways of dealing with things, and that's really important.
Yeah, which is extremely important because, we have our experience, but our experience is quite different from the experience of a lot of different people, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're limited by our own context, so let's move on.
Hi, Jenna and Bob. This is Nick. I was just calling because I just heard something on NPR that made me really, really angry. And it was a guy talking about how he was in Iowa and trying to find out, good photo ops for presidential candidates in Iowa. And so he went to a pig farm.
Oh, boy.
And I'm reading the thing on the NPR website right now, and it says, I was ravenous, so we stopped on the way at a diner for late breakfast. Halfway through my eggs and bacon, I was overcome with guilt, then just kept eating because I was so hungry. True Iowans conquer this guilt all the time. And then he talks to this family that raises pigs, and they let him hold one of their piglets and kiss it, and he talks about how cute it is, and there's no mention of the fact that it's going to be killed, but they all talk about how cute it is, and then they name it after him, and then he says he wants to have joint custody over it, and everyone chuckles. And then they make some dumb comment about how, you can tell that it's happy because its tail is curled up, and that you can't tell that in factory farms but on this farm they don't cut the tails off, so they're so much nicer to the pigs, and they bemoan the decline of the small family livestock farm, and I don't know. It just made me really angry, and so my first thought was to call you. And yeah, okay, bye. I love your show.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
That is frustrating.
It is. And why is it a good thing that, to be a true Iowan, you have to overcome this guilt?
Yeah, just live.
Yeah.
Don't have any guilt. I mean, decide you're not going to eat it.
Right.
Eat animals and walk away.
Yeah. Another example. Problems of hippie meat.
Yeah, you hear those things all the time too.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear
especially
shit like that
on
a lot.
NPR.
Oh, I know. Home of the guilty white liberal, right? You hear that stuff all the time, and it's very frustrating, extremely frustrating. So if you have frustrating moments like that, call Vegan Freak Radio or go to our site and leave a my chingo. Now we have one from Bryce.
Hey, Vegan Freaks. It's Bryce from the forums. Just calling to leave ranty goodness, I guess, because it's always fun to complain about omnis. But
that's like what we did the whole show.
Yeah.
So there's this. I've been dating this girl for a while. No longer dating for reasons you're about to find out.
What? Oh.
But I was, of course, working on the whole veganism thing with her, trying to talk to her about that, and it was great because I thought I'd make some progress. I even let her borrow Earthlings, and she watched it twice in a row and a third time in the same day, and I thought she was nuts. But apparently she cried all the time and was vegetarian for the week after. No, I asked her. It's been a couple weeks since, and I sent her a message a little ago asking her, "How's your vegetarianness going?" And she said, She said, "Quote: I had sausage and rice for dinner. Nom nom. Fucking nom nom." That pissed me off, and I was angry with her. And I said, and I thought, I don't know. I'm just ranting to you guys, but you guys are awesome, and I thought that was kind of a funny story. It pisses me off, but you guys are cool, and I want to say, Bob, you don't have to wait to be an angry old man. You're almost there already.
What? What do you mean? Huh?
See you guys, and thanks for all you do.
Who was that? What? Oh, okay, next voicemail.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. It's Anastasia. I have a burning question. I am in love with candles. I buy them all the time, have them all over my house.
Hi, Jenna.
And just
A burning question.
Did
It's
you
awesome. That's actually really witty.
Yes.
just now, I thought, maybe wax comes from bees. So this is what I was wondering. Is everything wax? Does all wax come from bees? Or is there any vegan-friendly wax so that I can keep buying my candles? So if you could please answer that, I'd be very happy. Thank you. Love your podcast. Bye.
Yes. Actually.
Jenna has the answer.
Yes, I looked it up. And I'm actually, for once, decided to look something up and not talk out of my ass. Beeswax candles are usually labeled beeswax because they're usually a little bit more expensive, I think. So you can usually steer clear of those pretty easily. A lot of other wax candles aren't labeled, and a lot of them, they used to have animal products. They used to be made with beef tallow.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought a lot of them were made with tallow.
And I think some of them might contain a little bit of it. But most candles these days are made from paraffin, which is a petroleum product.
Great.
But there is soy wax, which is completely soy-based. It is not petroleum-based. It's not animal-based, and is safe for vegans to burn.
Yeah.
And in fact, there are a lot of good places online to get vegan candles. Soy Candles by Phoebes.
Their stuff is great.
Their stuff is great. I got a whole bunch of stuff for Christmas
cool.
from them. So yeah, you do have some choices, and it's... Sorry, I got distracted because Emmy's being particularly cute.
She won't go away. She wants attention.
No, the dogs are hungry, and so is the cat actually, because the cat actually wandered in during one of the voicemails and started screeching at us.
He just walked in the door, went and then walked out like, "Hey, fuckers, feed me!"
Feed me.
Okay. So
there are soy wax candles.
Very good.
Soy is an amazing thing, don't you think?
I agree.
They can make ink out of it, wax.
I want to go eat edamame and have a beer.
Sounds good.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. Or Jenna and Bob. I love your show. It's definitely skull-worthy. Anyways, in podcast number 82, soy milk was mentioned and brought up. And I just want to say, go with organic soy products if possible to avoid GMO, genetically modified organisms, which is very unhealthy for us. On another note, if you don't like soy milk, there's lots of alternatives for nut milks. And it's easy to make yourself. All you need is a coffee grinder, some water, and a bowl or a tumbler to mix it up. Remember, if you can, avoid products of soy, corn, and canola oil, as they can be GMOs unless it says organic. Also try to avoid the derivatives of such things like soy lecithin, things like that, unless it's organic. So if possible, use organic soy, corn, and canola because it's healthier for you. Also, get creative. You can easily make salad dressings from your homemade nut milks. Buy your favorite, just by adding your favorite spices and herbs. And also you can easily make nut milk smoothies. You can make desserts, etc. There's lots of things. I take cashews, and depending on how much water you put in the cashews, the ground cashews from putting it in a coffee grinder, depending on the amount of water you add, you can actually make anything from a pseudo cheesecake to a soup base for some vegetables, especially if you like raw foods like I do and you want to make a raw food soup. So there's a lot of possibilities. It's just a matter of being creative. And any good cook, or uncook, I say, will tell you that it's a matter of creativity. Just like being an artist. You're going to draw some pictures, won't turn out, and then you'll draw some pictures that'll turn out so great you won't believe it.
And, he had some other stuff, but it was basically in the same ballpark. And I agree, you can do a lot of really cool things. Like, I once had this dip. It was like, it tasted very cheese. It tasted like cheese, but it was made out of macadamia nuts, ground up.
Yeah. With,
nutritional yeast and stuff. And so there's a lot of things you can do with ground nuts.
It's quite amazing. Actually, Drina in her latest cookbook has a lot of things with ground nuts in it. That, like, one's like a cheesy kind of dip, and one's like a Caesar kind of salad dressing. It's amazing.
It is indeed. And
tasty.
I think that's all we have for the show this week.
Okay.
I believe.
All right.
So.
Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa.
Merry, happy holiday, winter capitalist gift giving and buying season.
Yes.
So.
And Happy New Year. In case we don't get to you before then.
We won't.
Probably not.
We'll be back in 2008.
Yeah.
But go to Podcast Alley and help us beat the goddamn muggles, will you? Please. Also, don't forget, You can go sign up for a subscription at veganfreakradio.com. You can get on our email list there. You can send us a My Chingo there. You know, you just go and you record it on your computer. You can send us a voicemail at 267-295-1944. You can send us email. You can send us your vibrational energies.
Yep.
You can, I don't know.
All that kind of stuff.
We'd love to hear from you. So anyway, thank you very much for your emails and voicemails and all that. And I think that's about all I have to say. I'm done.
Okay.
I gotta pee.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Ba 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 Jana. Woo!